There is a lake in the Texas Hill Country sitting at 4% full. Not 40, not 14, 4. Medina Lake once held 254,000 acre-feet of water. Today, it holds a creek. You can drive out to its edge, step out of your car, and stand on ground that should be sitting under 80 feet of water. There is nothing there, just cracked pale limestone baking in the Texas sun and a shoreline that stopped being a shoreline years ago. The dam that holds this lake back was, when it was finished, the fourth largest dam in the entire United States. 152 feet of water was designed to stand against its face. Today, most of that height is air. Boat docks built to float are hanging on dry rock, dozens of feet above where the surface used to sit. Marinas that once packed with weekend traffic are sitting on cracked dirt. And at the bottom of the lake bed, where families used to anchor for the summer, there are now abandoned cars and rusted boats half buried in dried mud. But here is the detail that tells the real story. The drought did not drink this lake dry. Something else did. And the people who live here can point you to exactly where the water is going. It is not evaporating into the sky. It is vanishing into the ground. A data expert working alongside the local residents ran the numbers. What they found changes everything. 3 out of every 4 acre-feet of water released from Medina Lake never reaches the farmers it was sent to supply. For every 4 units that leave the lake, only 1 arrives at a field. The other 3 disappear into the earth somewhere in between. Because the canals that carry it are 110 years old. Many of them are nothing more than ditches dug in a bare dirt. Drive 15 miles from the lake, out along County Road 271, and you can walk one of them. It is a long trench cut several feet into the ground, overgrown now with shrubs and small trees pushing up through the bottom. A torn black liner, crushed under fallen limestone, lines what is left of the channel wall. Water poured into that ditch does not flow toward a farm. It seeps sideways into the soil. It vanishes. The lake is not just being emptied by the heat. It is being drained by its own delivery system. This is the part that does not make the headlines. Medina Lake is managed by the Bexar-Medina-Atascosa Water Control and Improvement District, built in the early 20th century to push water down a 312-mile canal system to 33,000 acres of farmland. On paper, the district holds the right to draw 46,000 acre-feet from the lake every single year. Last year, with the lake already collapsing, it could only distribute 6,000 acre-feet to its roughly 400 remaining farmers. And of that 6,000, 3/4 leaked into the ground before it watered a single crop row. The district halted water sales in October. That moratorium is still in effect. There is no date to lift it. Now, picture the geography. Drive west out of San Antonio for about 40 minutes, and the flat city edge gives way to the rolling limestone canyons of the Texas Hill Country. The Medina River cuts through those hills, and the lake it feeds straddles the county line between Bandera and Medina County, right where the small community of Lake Hills sits on the shore. When the lake is full, this is a postcard. 5,500 acres of blue water. Packed marinas. Summer cabins on the bluffs. Weekenders pouring in from San Antonio every Friday night. That is not what is here now. The Medina River, the source that feeds the whole system, is itself drying. The reservoir below it is at 4%, and the earthen canals below that are bleeding away most of what little remains. 3 failures stacked on top of each other, all draining downhill at the same time. Here is how far it has actually fallen. In May of last year, Medina Lake dropped to a record low of 2%. 2% of a 250,000 acre-feet. Then in July, the hill country was hit by a once-in-a-generation flood, the kind of rainfall that should refill a reservoir for years. It moved the lake from 2% to about 5%, and within a single year, it bled back to 4%. The sky opened and dumped a historic volume of water onto this watershed. The lake it should have rescued is already nearly empty again. Medina Lake is draining faster than a generational flood can fill it. There's a man named Mike Randle who built a marina here called Wally's Water Sports. He and his wife ran a business on this water for years. There is no water now. Mike is part of a group called Save Medina Lake. He stands in front of those bone-dry canals, points at the torn liner and the brush growing where the channel used to flow, and says, "This is where the lake went. Not the drought, the dirt." His docks, the ones built to float, are stranded on bare rock. The lake bed below them has become a place where people leave cars they no longer want. He is not watching a slow season. He is watching the thing his livelihood was built on disappear in front of him. And he can name the reason. That is the part that makes it worse. It is not a mystery. It is a 110-year-old ditch. Now hold all the numbers at once. For percent full, 96% empty. 83 feet below the conservation pool. 152 feet of designed dam depth, now mostly air. 254,000 acre-feet of capacity, almost none of it holding water. 33,000 acres of farmland, depending on a system where 3 of every 4 drops never arrive. 400 farmers cut to 6,000 acre-feet in a year of near-total shortage. And one statewide drought, the drought that began in the fall of 2021, that has never fully broken. Those numbers are not separate problems. They are one problem seen from different angles. And the question hanging over Lake Hills is not the one everyone assumes. Everyone assumes the question is, will it rain? That is the wrong question. The real question is this. Can a lake that loses 3/4 of every release into 110-year-old earthen canals ever truly refill, even in a wet year, until that infrastructure is rebuilt? Because if the answer is no, then more rain does not fix this. It only slows how fast the lake drains back to where it is right now. Nobody has answered that yet. The Medina River is still low. The canals are still earthen. The moratorium is still in effect. How does a reservoir, once among the 4 largest dams in America, end up holding 4% of its water? How does a community lose its lake, its marinas, and its entire economy, not in a single storm, but quietly, over years, while the water seeps into the ground a few miles down a county road? The lake did not break in a day. It is breaking in slow motion, in plain sight, in a trench you can walk to off a county road. The docks are still hanging in the air. The canals are still leaking into the dirt. The limestone is still baking white in the sun. The moratorium is still in effect, and Medina Lake is still dropping.